Good afternoon, everyone. Can I ask if you're not a speaker to turn off your camera? It does affect the bandwidth, and you can put them on at the end when we go into our Q&A, but we should just really have BuildForce and our speakers on camera. That's brilliant. It was lovely to see you all, though, even though briefly. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's virtual career chat. The sun is starting to come out very loosely. I am Caroline Logan, Programme Director for BuildForce, and delighted to have with us today one of BuildForce's mentors and one of BuildForce's previous candidates, Lamont and Matt, who are going to bring to you the world of the site manager. Very popular route for our candidates, so glad to see you all here. We are recording, so again, if you have an issue about being recorded, please let us know and we won't push it out. But all I'm going to say now is sit back and enjoy. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Caroline. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our BuildForce virtual career chat. I'm Angela Forbes, and it's a pleasure to welcome you. Now, today obviously marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day, so a pivotal moment in history that defines the course of World War II, but indeed a moment that inspired generations to choose a career in the armed forces, and it may have inspired you listening today. So we will be eternally grateful to those involved in D-Day, to all those who have served and those that continue to serve, and BuildForce is our way of giving back. Now, this morning, as Caroline has said, we're discussing site management. So these sessions are to bring the construction industry and its careers closer to you as you're going through your resettlement. So these sessions are where we have veterans sharing their transition and their new career in industry. So we're going to hear what advice they can impart today, and more importantly, who's recruiting as well. So our speakers are Lamont Dunstan, a construction site management apprentice at the Berkeley Group, and Matt Poole, assistant site manager with Vistry. So we'll take questions at the end. Feel free to write in any comments as we go, but without further ado, Lamont, we'll pass over to you and we'll switch our cameras off.
Hi, everyone. As you know, I'm Lamont, and I'm an apprentice site manager with Berkeley Group, one of the biggest house builders in the UK. At first, everything didn't start it out so smoothly. I was in the position of what you guys are in now, the resettlement phase, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I was leaving the army at some point. So what I did is I went ahead and did my logistics degree through the army. It was all funded through the army, and was hoping to get a job in logistics after I left. So here comes the big day, and I'm out of the army now. I was looking for jobs, but it wasn't really coming as quick as I needed. So I started working at a logistics company for a few years, and even though I was working in a logistics company, it wasn't doing what I really wanted to do, because I did shipping and I was doing a bit of lorry driving at the time. So I saw one of my mates who was doing a bit of lorry driving as well, but he was in transition. So he was just doing it part-time until he moved on to something else. So he referred BuildForce to me, which I didn't know about at the time. So he said, yeah, get on to BuildForce, mate. That's the best way to do it. They've got loads of contacts. So made the phone call, got in touch, and instantly I was put on to the lovely staff from BuildForce, who gave me a few options, which some of them was quite far away from where I live. But then the one to be a construction site manager turned up. So I thought, okay, let me get on to that one, which wasn't that far from a house. So long story short, they hooked me up for an interview, which I went on, and the interview opened my eyes to the construction sector, because on that interview, we not only did the interview, but we went out for a site walk and visited some of the showrooms that they currently had on the market. And from there, I liked the quality they had, and they spoke to me about the processes and the apprenticeship scheme in further. And when I went back, I was excited. So fast forward, I was invited to a second interview, which I went to, and eventually got the role. So now I'm on the apprenticeship course, which is a 3-year program started in 2021, and it involves intense site preparation, shadowing a site manager, doing stuff from inductions to snagging properties, the finishing stage, superstructures, roof, all of it. But it is quite intense. And as I said before, I came in through with a logistics background with absolutely no qualifications in construction. And but a part of the apprenticeship program is I do 4 days on site, shadowing the site manager, learning the processes, and I'll do 1 day in college, which is all funded by the company and the apprenticeship. So at the end of the apprenticeship, doing my college course, which is a level 4 site supervisor, I will be doing my endpoint assessment, and then if I'm successful in that, which I probably will be, well, I will be, I will be promoted to a assistant site manager. So, as I said before, I came in with absolutely no qualification whatsoever. And that's one of the beautiful roads of doing it through the apprenticeship scheme. They know at times that you're coming in with absolutely no qualification in construction. And that's why it's usually run over a period of years. So they can put you on courses, get you qualifications, build you up, train you. And usually the guys on site, they understand that as well. So they won't be expected anything astronomical from you when you come in, like send you off to go and do tasks by your own. They will set tasks for you and judge your ability over a period of time, but it's nothing like you come in and you expect to do this straight away, you expect to do that straight away. And they're usually quite good guys from what I've experienced. They're there to help me out with anything I don't know. Sure, they take the mick at times and say, oh my God, you don't know this, but they're only joking. It's just side banter. So yeah, there's pros in it. As you know, you get to see a house come from out the ground. I mean, I've seen phases come from nothing all the way up to houses that people can move in. And it's such a joy, especially when you're given a house to push and you take it all the way to the finishing stage where it's painted, everything, and the customer moves in. You can see their keys getting handed over and they're smiling, happy families. But there are also cons to it as well, which even though I said I'm a apprentice site manager, the manager bit doesn't mean that you're in the office and you hardly ever go out on site. If you're looking for a role where you're not really out in the elements, it's not for you, trust me, because I've been out in snow, hail, and freezing, trembling rain, but you just gotta crack on and deal with it. It's not something where you're gonna be constantly in the office managing. Another con as well, it's at times it can be very stressful. I mean, you've got deadlines to meet. Customers have got their dates where they're meant to move in, and everything doesn't go as planned because, for instance, you're supposed to be starting decorating a plot at a date, and all of a sudden the trades don't turn up or there's a problem, so the dates are getting pushed back, but that date where the customer is moving in doesn't change. So you've got to run sometimes, get the food down. Well, you're ex-army, so you know what it's like to get the food down your throat and get out on site quickly. But all in all, I say it's a promising trade, and it's a good trade to get into because not only that, if once you get into the construction field, I'm assuming, and I think, because I've spoken to other people that's been in it long before me, you can branch off. You don't have to stick to house building. You can move off into civil. Because I was having a chat with someone on the weekend that's in the construction industry as well. And he was asking me if I'm interested in moving over into civil, which they call them civil engineering, that field. And I didn't know that you can move from the house building phase over to that. So construction is a wide field. And for some people that want to go to higher levels like project management and make that step, you can do easily. You can come in and you can get your head down. You can start working hard. And before you know it, you're promoted to site manager and even all the way up to project manager, director as well. So you don't have to be stuck down at the level where you're just building properties and, you know, finishing properties. You can move up quite quickly, because I've seen that in this company. When I started, my construction manager was in the office with all of us bantering, and before you know it, project manager leaves, the directors come in and tell him, right, you're making the jump. He wasn't ready for it, but he just jumped, and now he's the project manager running the whole entire site. So, and it's quite a big site as well. It's over 1,500 houses. So it's going to be going on for years and years to come. I would say one of the best routes to get in is to work with companies like BuildForce to see if they can work their contacts, or at times on sites. I'm seeing these days LinkedIn, where a lot of companies now are sending out for apprentice site managers. I just seen one 2 days ago online. I can't remember the name of the company, but a lot of companies now as well, they're doing apprentice site managers. So to get in, I would say if you haven't got any experience in construction, that would be the best route to get in. Because as I said before, they're not looking for anything extraordinary from you. It's just the effort. Put the effort in. Let them see that you're willing to learn, and it should be all right. And what they don't like is people coming on site and just not showing the effort, not grafting. And trust me, you'll hear it from the experienced guys. If you're sat in the office too long, they'll come in and go, what are you doing sat in the office? Out on site is where everything is going on. That's what you learn. That's where you learn. So get out and, you know, get amongst the guys and learn. So if you come in with the right attitude, you'll take to the guys positively, and you'll move up. Yep. So if there's anything else you need to know, I'm on LinkedIn. You can get in touch with me, and yeah, I'm quite happy to help.
Hi everybody. So my name's Matt. I'm an assistant site manager for Vistry Partnerships. I've been with these for 5 years now. I joined the army at a late age, so I was already in construction before I joined the army. So I got quite a wealth of experience that way. By the time I'd left, I'd already got sort of contacts and everything. Again, like Lamont, I didn't know about BuildForce as well as I did until I joined Vistry, which they become a big part of it. And obviously I've become a mentor through them. So if anybody wants to get in contact with me off here, they can do so through Caroline. She could pass my number on or my email, and I'm quite gladly help people out. But yeah, so like I say, I've been doing this for a number of years. I started with Taylor Wimpey, and I lasted about 2 years with them. I did struggle to settle down, if I'm honest. I went through 3 other different companies, just wasn't getting on with certain things, people, and as I say, like Lamont said, it is quite demanding, and there is some people out there that want more and more off you. So I ended up with Vistry, and Vistry they've looked after me very well. We are a very big entity now. We've bought Countryside and Bovis out, so we are a huge company as well now across the board. We do a lot for BuildForce as well. So we're looking in for people to come in to join us. We like to have what do you call it, site apprentices as well. We're looking for people to come out for a bit of work experience as well, which is good. I've already had one candidate that I've had as a mentor. He came out for a week with me. They actually offered him a job. He didn't take it. He went with Bomer and Kirkland because he wanted the commercial side of life. So, but it gave him a good insight. He was an ex-Royal Engineer. So we're more than welcoming people for site experience, as long as you live. Well, there is other people mentoring across the country. Again, that's for Caroline to look into. but I'm East Mids based. So if there's anybody on here that's East Mids based, I'm more than happy to help you out if I can as much as possible. For your qualifications, like for me, like I said, it was I come in through a different route. I was already in, and I got my SMSTS. I sorted that out myself. I sorted out my first aid, and I was just talking earlier that the CSCS cards now becoming obsolete. So anybody that's coming into this industry now is going to need to sort of go through the same way Lamont's going through, which is apprenticeship, because you need to get your MVQs. Whereas like I'm old and I got in through the old way. So it was a bit easier for me on that side of life, but I've still got to prove that I've got my MVQs and whatnot in this next 12 months or so, which I've only just learned this out yesterday. So I'm trying to find out some more information, which I can hopefully pass on to you guys at a later date. But yeah, if you're looking at your resettlement side, I'd be looking at trying to get your SMSTSs and your first aid, which that is going to get your foot in the door, as well as helping out with your apprenticeships. I can't really talk too much about apprenticeships for myself because I didn't go that route, and like I say, I've not really seen how it is, but I know it is still easy to get into. The way our company looks at, and I think quite a lot of companies, I know Barrett's are doing they have a big push for ex-military, and a lot of companies are looking for ex-military just purely for the fact of the skills that you hold, your timekeeping, your appearances. It's all that kind of good stuff that people like to see. And again, I'm just going to echo what Lamont said. It is a very demanding industry, so you've got to be prepared to take that, which at the end of the day, you know what it's like. The army is exactly the same, so it's you're not going to struggle on that side of life. Yeah, you've got the elements to deal with as well, which again, none of you are going to have a drama with that. It's by the by, that is. But then, like I say, you do get a lot that's outside. The more you're outside with the guys, the better the job will run. It was a bit of advice I got, and it was from my old man when I came into it, and it was, you speak to your guys, right, you look after them and they'll run the job. And I've stuck by that. And I've got some of my trades, I've had them now for 3-4 years because they've wanted to stick with me, just purely the way I treat them, look after them, and put the work in front of them, which at the end of the day is money to them. And that's one bit of advice I can give to you. Again, it's, if you're constantly sat in the office, you're not going to get anywhere, and it's going to get noticed. And to say, the guys on the site are not going to be happy with you either, because you're not out there with them helping. But yeah, there's all sorts of things like that. Again, Lamont mentioned the banter. It's one of the best places, I think, coming out of the services, right? Because you can still have that good bit of banter. The humour's quite the same, I find, and it's quite a relaxed environment, and you meet people from all sorts of walks of life. Again, like you have done in the services, it's very, very similar, I've found, and I think it's a good transition period as well for you. Like I say, you can come in and you can feel at ease quite quickly, I find, and it's very welcoming community for me. Like I say, and I've been in it for a very long time, and I think it's only got better, if you ask me, in that side of life. But yeah, there is a big demand for houses of reading, because we're now becoming a FTSE 100 company at the end of this month, and the amount of houses that it's got to be built is just astronomical. So the industry is just growing massively. So the sooner you can get into it, the better. right? Because we are struggling for bodies basically, and that's in everything, trades all the way up to management, all the way up to directorship, and it's whichever way you want to go for it. So I think I've covered what I could possibly cover on the side of life.
Perfect, Matt. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Lamont, you there? Caroline, do you want to come back and join us? If you do have any questions, please type them in the box or raise your hands. We'll kick off with a few just to warm our speakers up. So Lamont, thank you very much for your kind of insightful journey. So we appreciate that. So you mentioned the apprenticeship course that you're working through at the moment. So this 3-year programme. So a couple of questions on that is, do you feel that that really has filled in the blanks and given you the structure around being a competent site manager?
100%, because the course is a level 4 site supervisor, and it covers a lot. And whenever I did that course, I used to, on a Wednesday, I used to do it. Thursday, I would come back on site and try to find stuff that I've done in the course. And if I'm on site and I don't know something, I'd go to the course and I can ask the teacher as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wide field we covered during that course, from property handover, ownership, land law, and building superstructures, substructures. It's a lot we covered on that course. So as I said before, it goes hand in hand. Wherever you go to the course, you do your course and you don't understand, when you come on site, they can actually show you it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually do it physically. And whenever you're on site and something you don't really understand and you need to ask your instructor when you go to college, he will cover it and explain it to you. So you've got both. You got help on both sides of the field if you need it.
And do you think maybe those, a bit like Matt, he had an early construction career, do you think maybe those that have served in the Royal Engineers and the like, so they've got some construction experience, do you think the apprenticeship route's relevant to them as well?
Yes, it is.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I still think it is, but they will probably be fast-tracked a bit more due to, like I say, they've got some kind of background to it.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly, I wouldn't know. It is to that. So, like I say, I still think they will have to, but if they've already got MVQs in certain areas, that gets them in straight away. They might just go in straight as a trainee apprentice instead of an apprentice. So that's how I think they would end up going. And then it takes about it, once they've done like the trainee period, it's around 1 or 2 years, and then they become an assistant manager, and then obviously the world's their oyster then with
Right,
it.
okay. And just on the salary bands for the apprenticeship route, so to you, Lamont, are you able to just advise what was that first year salary? Do you remember? So they're going to be set bands, aren't there?
Okay, so when I started, it was in 2021. That was before all the big cost of living crisis and everything. Yeah. And I took a pay cut because I could say no, because I'm not working there anymore. I was on about 36,000 when I was at the old job. And when I started, it was 30,000. But I knew that if I sacrificed, well, I was able to do it because I could afford to do it. But I know a lot of people probably can't. But I took the step back because I know that when I finish looking at what's there in front of me, it's a massive jump. So I took the sacrifice, and just as the cost of living crisis starting to eat into even a little tiny bit of my savings, the company came up to us and said, right, we see what's going on. We know times are hard. We were meant to give you a pay increase a year and a half from now. We'll bring it forward and give it to you now, which did help. So I would say, I can speak for my company. They started, 30 was the highest, 30,000. Well, you had less because people coming in with less experience, like some of the teenagers would be 21,000, 25, 26, all the way up. But the maximum for us was 30. And within that time period, it went up It went up every year. And it's
Okay,
my third year now, so.
Your third year, so you're about to kind of show me the money. Is that where you're heading, Lamont? You're going to get that
Yeah.
increase.
What I would
Okay.
say is, okay, it's hard for me to say don't watch the money,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's the long road, the strategy.
Yeah.
Because if you come in as an apprentice, once you're in construction, they give you all these courses. I mean, I've done NHBC courses, I've done everything. So once you finish that, you can be a project manager in construction and your money just goes through the roof after that. So don't watch it at the start if you can afford to.
Yeah, no, good advice. And do you remember offhand what the entry requirements are for the apprenticeship? So
I mean,
any courses they need, or?
I've seen people on, well, I was different because I had a logistics management degree, but
Okay.
you've got a younger, from 19-year-old to 20 all the way up. They came in with just GCSE. One guy just finished his A-level and he came straight in.
Okay.
It's all about when you go to the interview. The interview is everything. You've got to
Right.
show you want it, and you've just got to represent well. It's not about really the qualifications because they know you're not coming. They're going to train you to what they want anyway.
Yeah. And you made a really lovely point about how working in house building, how the role's really rewarding because it's families that are moving in, it's lifetime memories that are being made in that home. Is that the
Yes.
best part of the role, do you think?
Yes, I mean, I've been out there when it's absolutely stressful and I'm thinking, well, what am I doing? And there's a handover like 2 days before, and literally because the cleaner didn't turn up, I had to mop the kitchen floor. And as soon as they were going through the front door, I was sneaking out the back through the patio. But then when I went around, dropped the bucket off and was walking past, I could see the kids jumping up and say, oh my God, look at my room and everything. So it makes it rewarding. Because I know for a fact I wouldn't be mopping floors every day. It's just that one instant where the cleaner didn't turn up.
Yeah,
So I just pitched in and just did the floors quickly.
Absolutely. And a point that Matt had mentioned, Lamont, was, and you said yourself, when you did the walk round for the interview, you said that you were really impressed by Berkeley. Can you just share a bit more about what it was that impressed you?
Yes. What impressed me was the finished product, because when I was doing the house shopping, because I was looking for a new build, and I've been in some of the houses, and I was like, yeah, look at that, that wasn't done properly. But when I went into Berkeley's townhouse, one of the show homes, it was very good, and the quality was up there, and they even invited us to try to find a snag, because they would listen to you. It's not like they're trying to cover it up. So at the end, they're like, did you find anything, you know, we can go back to our bill guys with? And you know, you can barely find anything. I think we found 1 or 2 things, but that was tough being on order to come in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't installed yet.
And just on that question to you, Matt, you said you struggled to settle. So just advice to those listening, how can they determine who a good employer is during that interview, or what a good culture would look like? Is it hard?
My directors treat me really well. I get on well with them. My contracts manager's just brilliant. And yeah, I've got a great team around me, like I say, and it's made me thrive as a manager as well, like I say, and I've managed to keep like my trades, moving them from job to job. I've had, like I say, I've been on 3 major projects with them so far in this 5 years, and I've had some of them that I've had for the whole 5 years because they've just wanted to stay with us, me, and so yeah, that side of it is, but you'll get the sense of feeling of whether you're just a number or you're actually valued. So
a few people have got their hands up, so we'll go to them first. So Dan. Hi Dan, if you're able to put your camera on.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of questions really.
Yeah, fire away. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to understand the sort of the site team, how it's set up, the hierarchy. So I think, Lamont, you mentioned PM would be in charge of the site. You then got a site manager, assistant site managers, and what's the relationship, size of the team, and that sort of thing on a typical site, I suppose.
Okay, so on my site, because different sites vary, I think. On my side, we had a project manager, and then under him was a construction manager. Then you had a senior site manager. Then we had I think 3 or 4 at the time, because some of them left, 3 or 4 site managers, 1 assistant site manager, and then we had us, 2 apprentices. That was the actual structure. Did I help you with that, or
is that, and that's for 1,500 homes?
Yeah,
Yes.
can I just jump in on this one? So, Dan, something on that kind of size, you would need that amount of managers. I've just been with another region for the last 3, well, up from January to April, waiting for this job to start, and that's on a project that's over 2,000 properties. So how Lamont's is set up, so what they do is they all take a section each, basically, so they're not all on top of each other. It's so, because it's done in pockets, like phases.
yeah?
So you'll get one manager and an apprentice or an assistant that will do one part of the phase, and then you've got, like I say, you've got the project manager and the construction manager that oversee everybody on that site. So where my sites, we're predominantly project manager, site manager, assistant, and possibly a trainee, depending on the size of the site. And how we work is project manager oversees everything. Site manager does the front end of the work. So that's basically everything out of the ground up to roof, and then assistant manager from roof to finish, to handing over to customers. And it's, so you're not like on top of each other, you're not in each other's shoes and things like that. So you're not getting in the way, you're not interfering with certain trades and everything like that. It's, so
There's a handover between each.
That's it. It's
Yes,
very
it
well
is.
structured. Like I say, the way Lamont's is working is how a countryside job that I was helping out on, waiting for my job, and it run very, very well like that. But you've got to have the room to accommodate that, because too many cooks spoils the broth, as they say. But that's not the case. It's they split them up. They're not all doing the same area, basically. So, because otherwise that sounds like it's just a big mess otherwise, but it isn't. It's very well structured. But if you go to somewhere like Wimpy's or Miller's, 9 times out of 10, it's just a manager and assistant, a labourer, truck driver, which to me is very old school now, and it's quite hard that way. Whereas if you've got 3 or more, it's very well split out.
So in terms of the workforce, PM sort of organising program and workforce. So you're pulling those. Your workforce is in-house, or is it subcontracted out?
Subcontractors we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's dealing with that and trying to hit program. And then have you got a reach back to Vistry for logistics and any sort of design elements?
Yeah. So we have, again, nearly every company has their own design team. You have your own buying team. You've got your commercial team. You've got your quantity surveyors. Everything. Like I don't know if Lamont has, but we have a quantity surveyor that sits on site every day, which is. It never used to be a thing when I first went into it before I joined the army, but it's a very good thing now, because like they hold the purse strings. So then obviously you've got your contracts manager behind you. Project manager tends to deal with, like you say, like, because I deal with trades, I call them in as well as, but what the project manager will do is he will set up the site. He will do a lot of the admin side of life. He will do like he'll do some call-offs. He'll do deal with the services, like or like your gas, electric, water. They'll do all the talking to the directors, basically. They'll come and see us all, but it's that person that keeps the wolf from the door. So it's their name above the door. It's they're number one in charge, and like I say, and then it's site manager, which will do the front end, and then assistant will do the back end and all the way on. But everybody has an element of health and safety to do. Any kind of like, because you have like you dealing with the risk assessments. I can look through them, the RAMs. I can sign them off. You can have sign off for scaffolders as long as you've got your scaffolder awareness course, which you'll get all in house anyway. Anybody's allowed to, as long as you've been sort of passed off to sign anything, then you can do, because obviously there's holidays, sickness and things like that. But there's everybody has their role, but everybody sort of merges into one. So it's a case of what the project manager wants us to do, basically. So they'll delegate, right, you do that, and that's your bag then throughout the whole of the project, and you just roll with it that way. Right. Some of them, they keep it all close to them and do it all themselves, whereas this team here, we know what we go on with. So Martin, who's my project manager, he does what he does. He delegates what he delegates to me, and then he delegates what he does to the site manager, and we just get it done, basically.
Yeah, that's great answers. I'll hand over.
Thank you for that, Dan. Any final point on that, Lamont? Anything to add?
Yeah, it's basically the same, really, because as I said before, some sites are set up differently. You'll have a lot of people, and you'll have, as Matt said, just project manager, site manager, and assistant. Because a lot of people that came over to our site saying, "Wow, you guys got a lot of people on site." Some, like, we've got 2 senior site managers, and some people say, "Wow, you've got a lot of senior site managers on site," because there aren't any on sites they've been on, or there may be just one. So yeah, it's the same.
So we're the project manager, fundamentally responsible for delivering the project. They'll have subject matter experts, so QS hat, which is what I wear, planner, health and safety, and site managers is also one. Those site managers fundamentally responsible for all interactions on building those houses. So access for the trades, coordination for the trades, material deliveries, quality inspections, health and safety checks. That's fundamentally the role of the site manager. So it's where the action happens, it's the operational delivery, you're on the coal face, kind of stakeholder engagement, client customers upwards and subcontractors downstream. So I hope that helps, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Lamont. And Phil, we've got a question from Phil. Hi, Phil.
Yeah. Let me put my camera on. It's coming. Should be. Am I on?
Okay. Hi.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about the lighting. And I've just got a couple of questions on the kind of qualifications. I've looked online to try and find site manager roles or an entry in. I'm looking for like HNC, HND. I mean, how do they relate?
No. Sorry, I'm just jumping in here. There, if you want, like, both of us were shaking our heads there, but for like entry levels, no, you don't need HNC, HND. Like, you're looking at that for sort of
graduate.
You can say like project manager and above, that kind of thing.
Right, okay.
But again, you still don't need it for project management. I'm not sure if it is a dying breed, that that qualification, if I'm honest. I might be wrong in saying it, but you don't see it as much anymore. It's for me, like, to look up site manager online, you'd be lucky. You'll see the jobs, but what you have to do is 9 times out of 10 is you have to go through recruitment agents anyway. It's one of the, like, it's quite hard to get to them direct, and most of them will turn around to you, even if you do get to speak to them direct, would go say you need to go through this particular recruitment agent anyway. So that would be one of the things I would be looking at, is to start getting involved with recruitment agents in your area, because what they do is they basically find you the work, and then obviously they get a fee after your initial your probation period, which can be anything from 3 months to 6 months. If you did go down that route, it's not going to be a bad thing to do, but it's certainly not needed for gaining entry. That's for sure. Right, again, Lamont's hit the nail on the head again with saying that you get a lot of education in-house anyway. So it's like if you want to try and get in through without going through the apprentice, the SMSTS, first aid, and then try and work in that way. You can still get in that way, and then what they do is you can as a trainee you can get your MVQ up to level 6 through that, which would be equivalent to your black CSCS card, which would now become an MVQ card. So that's your site manager's card basically, but you can get in by doing it that way. So
as well as sorry, Matt. What people should understand is different people are leaving the army at different levels. Some people are sergeants and whatever. They've run projects before, albeit in the army. So don't ever think if you come in at the entry level and you didn't know anything about construction, or they're just going to look at you as an apprentice or whatever. It's not the case. If you come in and you show that, look, I'm delivering, I'm running this, I'm in meetings, I'm stepping up, I'm showing that I can hand over plots, you question stuff and say, what if we do it, run the project this way? Before you know it, you're all the way up the top of project management. There was a guy who started, not with us, but I was told about this guy that started, and within a year he was a director. So it's the level that you come in with, and you exhibit yourself as, look, this is me, this is what I can do, a lot straight to the top. So you don't have to go through the normal progression route as assistant, this and that. You can actually find yourself skipping to the top if you're that good. So don't ever think you're just gonna be at the bottom and that's it.
No. Progress. And I'm just one more thing to add. Sorry, Phil, on you go.
Yeah, I was just saying I'm getting my results back for NEBOSH construction next week. I mean, would that add weight to something or?
Yeah. Obviously, that's the health and safety side of life. So with that qualification, they would probably push you towards that anyway. Is to go because again we have our own health and safety. Again, probably Lamont does as well. Their own in-house health and safety, which a lot of companies do that now. There's not many of them that outsource it anymore. I've got a mate who's a good mate of mine. He's ex-Mercian, and he's moved around a bit. He's actually working for Rolls-Royce now as one as their health and safety advisors, but he'd worked for Belford BT, Network Rail, so he's done the construction side of life as well. But yeah, if you've got that kind of a qualification and the industry sees that, that's the way that they'd probably push you to go. All right, but if you wanted to go site management, crack on, because you've got more strings to your bow. Right, you've learned the health and safety side of it. You'd be top of your game for that one.
And health and safety is massive because any small slip-ups can shut down a whole project. So a lot of times, if you see companies making staff redundant, usually the health and safety people remain, because just one accident on site can lead to people going to prison, massive fines. So they take it really, really seriously. So if you did your NEBOSH, when I started, there was an apprentice health and safety young lady with us, and she was doing her NEBOSH through the company, and she only just finished, I think, about a year ago. So that goes to show you that what I was saying at the start is it says construction, but you can come in at many different roles. Example, technical apprentice. You can come in as commercial apprentice, health and safety apprentice, even build apprentice. So for my company, we do that. So you don't have to come into construction as a build apprentice where you're just going to be outside supervising brick workers. You can come in as a commercial apprentice, technical apprentice where you'll be doing drawings and everything. So yeah.
So just one note I'd make is when you come to BuildForce, what we're ascertaining when we go through our career chats and the support that we give you is we look at any industry experience you have. So for somebody who wants to move into site management, we'll establish that it's really low level and a 3-year apprenticeship with a house builder like Lamont at Berkeley's is perfect for you. So we're going to start you at the beginning and build you up. And as Lamont advised, your salary will increase exponentially after that. For others, there might be some knowledge, some good experience there, but maybe some blanks in your knowledge. So maybe a 1-year assistant site supervisor program with Barrett's is better suited to you. So again, we'll connect you there to pursue that route. Where we have some candidates that have some good construction experience and maybe they should just go in straight off as an assistant site manager. We'll just avoid all the apprenticeship programs. We'll just put you straight in at that entry level and support you there. And for others, maybe get in at site manager, senior site manager, or operations director. Again, we'll support you there. So that's the gift of coming to BuildForce. It's horses for courses. It's just working out where you're at and what programs and what employers are better suited to you. And part of that journey is obviously over with Kathleen's team on the mentoring program. Let's get you speaking to mentors that have done exactly that, just to make sure that this is going to work for you. You're at the same level as awareness as they were when they left. So there's lots of different routes into site management. We've even got some guys that were brickies or electricians when they left school at 16, the good old-fashioned City and Guilds apprenticeship they've achieved. Gone in, served 12, 14, 24 years with the armed forces. So probably we feel if you want to go back to where your heart is, you want to go back into construction, let's just take you the next level above your apprenticeship. Let's look at site management instead. So there's lots of different ways and means. So we're sorry it's not a wee bit clearer, but the one good take from this is your experience, your ability, your capability. Industry has got a level for you to go in at. And that's the good thing to take away from this chat today. So I hope that helps, Phil. Any other questions?
No, thank you all.
You okay? You're good. All right. Thank you. So just, Mahesh, I'll just come back to you in a sec. There's just a couple of comments that have come in that I just want to pick up on. So the comment around the kind of CS card. So what everybody in industry had a safety qualification. So this is your site management safety training scheme, I think it is. So your SMSTS, your NEBOSH General, your NEBOSH Construction, your IOSH. So some really good safety quals. But what CS were trying to do back in the 90s with the government and the HSE were saying, listen, everybody that works on a British construction site has to have a very basic level of health and safety. It's a 20-minute multiple choice exam. Your card is colour coded for your specific trade, and it was working a treat when it came in. But like all good things, there are people that try to get round the system. So we had very low level entry requirements like labourers cards and the like. And we were finding a lot of people were coming into industry and misusing the low level entry cards. So what CSCS have come up with now is they're looking for this to be the best and safest industry it can, for it to be a qualified industry and to stop unskilled people coming in and abusing those labourers cards, if you like. So that's why they're trying to get everybody educated and qualified and trained and competent to do the job that they're doing. So much the same like every other sector, we're just trying to raise the bar. So there are going to be some people that it's going to affect more than others, but there are still entry routes to get you into these roles. So don't worry, there's ways and means, and we'll guide and advise in that space if that helps. So Mahesh, shall we come to your question? If you're there, hi Mahesh.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much, Matt, Lamont, Caroline, and Angela. I think I was just trying to ask this question. I think you've answered already, because my CCS is running out next month, and whether I needed to. My plan was I'm doing my SMSTS now over 2 weekends online, and then I was going to do CSCS renewal, and that was mentioned, which I think Matt mentioned, probably that is not needed, might not be
No.
needed.
No, it's carry on with your SMSTS.
Mhm.
100%. You're going to need that. But yeah, I would say if you, I think I did answer somebody about, because they asked me about the SMSTS of where to find it. The best thing to do is Google your area for that. But what I did yesterday for this, to look at this new thing about the cards, I just basically put in, is the CSCS being scrapped?
Mhm.
And basically, yes, it is.
Okay.
So as of the end of this month, no cards are being renewed at all. But what they're going to do is so if you any other kind of qualification you've got, i.e. MVQ, is or City and Guilds, anything like that, they're going to recognise that, but you're only going to get your card in that field. So it's like Angela just said there, it's basically stopping people backdooring it, like coming in at a very low entry to start saying, oh yeah, I'm an electrician, or I'm this, or I'm that, which is highly dangerous for things
thank you.
like that. So that's what it's trying to stop, and it's going to also cause a lot of problems at the moment, because we've still got quite a few old guys on site as well, where they're going to go, I've been laying bricks for 40 years, what do I need an MVQ for? And so it's unfortunately it's gonna, that's where the snags are going to come. Like say, I've only just started, I've been hearing rumblings that this is going to happen.
Okay.
And I've just started looking into it, and I'm trying to delve deeper into it myself, because I'm one of the younger dinosaurs that's going to have to go, oh God, I've got to find me MVQ, I've got to do this, I've got to find that. But luckily I'm with a good company that'll square me away, basically.
That rephrase, like lots of wisdom you've got, not all dinosaur. And thank you very much for that. I think it
You're
saved me because I
welcome.
was about to do the CSS last week, and I decided SMSTS first before.
100%.
So that saved me. The
Yeah.
second point, I think you've covered, but just to clarify it a bit more, and also to give me a reassurance, as a project manager coming in, I know there's a lot of responsibilities. For example, what I'm doing right now is within aviation engineering, and I've got project engineers who does explain to me what is the output or required, level. I do the stakeholders negotiation to come into construction, which is I'm aiming to go. What level do I need to understand, construction? Or that is one thing which I'm trying to have a balance. How much I want to go in the industry. I don't have that much trades, or like I don't have a site manager experience like Lemon is gaining right now. I'm trying to make sure I am not trying to push myself into an industry where I'm going to be struggle because I don't have that experience. I want to go in it.
Yeah. For me, I think if you've run projects, regardless of what they are, you can run a project. A project at the end of the day is a project. So obviously you've got to deal with obviously all your hierarchy, which you do anyway. Then you've got to deal with all your KPIs. You've got to deal with your programming.
Sure.
So everything has timelines, everything has a cost to it. On that side of life, I don't think you're going to struggle.
Sure.
The only other side of it I would say is, because like I say, you've never had any experience in the construction industry, but at the end of the day, it's not rocket science either. It's a lot of it is, and I think Lamont's probably got used to it now, a lot of it is repetitive. It's yes, you do come across problems, but again, it's probably something that you're not unfamiliar with. I wouldn't read too much into it. Like it's, yeah, get all the information that you can, get it offline, get it off people that you know, visit some sites, like see if you can get some work experience somewhere, and like that would be one of my biggest things to say to you is if you can get a bit of work experience, you'll find it's not as daunting as you think it is. It depends on which side you're going into, whether you're going into commercial or into housing, they're two very different things. So like if you're building like your big sheds and like your hangars, things like that, warehouses, or bridges, or town centres, like multiplex centres, things like that, they're a bit more demanding than the housing side of life. But again, it all just becomes repetitive at the end of the day, because I've got friends that are in the commercial side of life, in the construction side of life, as well as the housing, and it all becomes second nature, and it doesn't take very long
to get
But
to.
just on that, Mahesh,
No, I
yeah, there's
appreciate that.
absolutely, no problems kind of striving for that. Like every discipline, it's got its rank structure. If we need to bring you in as an assistant PM to get you up, just
Yeah.
make sure that you're working with Caroline and the team. I want you speaking to project managers who are doing this role just to explain exactly what their entry route was. Just to close, there's a couple of questions that have come in. One did make me laugh, Bob. It was a great question in terms of kind of what other titles are site managers given. So you've got site supervisors, site managers, you've got contract managers. There is a regional discrepancy between what we call some of the disciplines as well. So we'll pick that up. The other question that came in from Din was, this is where I'm at. These are the qualifications. Should I be applying for an apprenticeship or an assistant site manager? There is no harm at all in applying for the apprenticeship scheme. A good employer and a good military programme will say to you, you're too qualified, we're going to put you over here instead. But just start the process, get your foot in, start the engagement with that employer. And even if at the interview stage you wow them and they think you're overqualified, if they see talent, they will be quick to hold on to it and move you to the best entry route for you. There's a question there as well from someone from Glasgow asking about kind of the geographies here in terms of which employers are open to them. We've got a couple of regional ones up in Scotland, your Robertsons and the like. So if it's not with Berkeley's, because they more so kind of down south in London, we'll find one regionally for you as well. Flicking through, I think most of the questions have been answered. When it comes to the CSCS card, for the avoidance of all doubt, when we push this out on social media, we will put a note of exactly either a route map or the best advice that we can give you, but just have the conversation with us. But I do want to give you some text and information just to make this as crystal clear as we can. Somebody's asking about when should we apply for an apprenticeship? The sooner the better. You are right. They tend to start in the September period. You may have missed this year's intake, but it's never ever too late to try. If their in-house skills academy is provided by the employer, they don't need to align with the college or the university dates. They will run that programme when it suits them. So just get online, get enrolled and register, and Caroline and the team will follow up for you on your behalf. Do you need to have construction experience to be a project manager? Again, not always and not really. A project manager is about managing a project, ensuring that their subject matter experts are teed up and doing what's required of them. It's more the people skills. Having an awareness of the industry you're working in does help, but that comes with the role. And I think Caroline's can answer a couple of the questions there. So Lamont, I had even more questions for you, and Matthew, I think I had about 12 for you, but kind of the hour's up, so I think we probably need to do this as a 2-hour session at the next time. But I just wanted to kind of thank absolutely everybody for their questions today and their effort. We'll probably run this one in a couple of months because it seems to be really popular, but we will make sure that you're crystal clear when we push this out on social media, just some of the questions that you've asked. But thank you to Lamont and to Matt for their contribution today. A shout out to Berkeley's and Vistry because they're two incredible employers there. Again, you are not alone. BuildForce are here to support and guide and advise you and help you take this further. So just please ensure you've registered, get in touch with the team, and we'll be here to pick you up on the other side. And I'll pass back to Caroline just for some final insights.
Thanks, Angela. So we are running over, so do appreciate that. So thanks, guys. That was a really insightful journey in. But as Angela, just echoing Angela, we're here for that, for extra advice, support. I know it's all confusing. There's so many different routes in, but we will guide you on the right route and with the right employer. So I'm just going to do one shout out. Armed Forces Day is coming up. We are doing our yearly 15-mile trek in Dorset on the 29th of June. We've got a fantastic growing team of employers, veterans, service leavers and mentors. So if you you want to join us, it's not too late. You get a t-shirt as well. You get a BuildForce t-shirt. So, and drinks in the pub and refreshments in the pub afterwards. I forgot to mention we start at the pub and end at the pub. Always a bit of a bonus. So please do come and join us. If you're able to get in touch, send us an email. All right, brilliant. Have a great Thursday. Have a wonderful weekend and see you all soon. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Lamont. Thank you,
Bye.
Matthew.
Good. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Brilliant.